All right, boys, we're going to Vegas. The NBA has officially released that the Summer League will be back this year. And like I told you guys, this offseason is going to go so quick. We're in the midst of the season of the playoffs right now. We have the lottery the end of June or in a few weeks. Then the draft is at the very end of July. And then August 8th through 17th is the NBA Summer League. And if you look on your calendar, you'll see that those are in the middle of the week. But I will be out there. I'm pretty sure my boy CP, Knicks Fan TV, will be out there. We're going to have a meetup. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff out there. So hopefully we'll be able to see a lot of you guys out there. But what's important about us making that trip is three things. Thing number one is we finally will get to see Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin in their setting and be able to get a full offseason together and be able to play amongst their peers and show out what they can do. Now, we know what Quickley showed for us last season. Emmanuel Quickley was amazing for us in the regular season. Obi Toppin was climbing the entire year, playing from to playing solid basketball when it most mattered in the playoffs. So to see them both in their setting amongst their peers, amongst guys that are in their same skill level, will be a lot of fun to see them, see what they learned under Thibodeau and how they will thrive under it. I'm really curious to see who's going to be the coach of the Summer League. I wonder if it's going to be Johnny Bryant or if it's going to be Kenny Payne. I think it's going to be Johnny Bryant. I think that'd be pretty dope seeing Johnny Bryant coach these young guys. I think that'd be a lot of fun for them. And then the number two thing would be seeing Luka Vildoza play for the first time. We'll get to see how Luka Vildoza really looks in this setting, in a Summer League setting, seeing him run the point guard position. So I'm excited to see that firsthand. And thirdly, we will get to see right away whoever we get in this draft. I so fully suspect that we're going to come out of this draft with only one or maybe two rookies in this draft. We have 4 total picks. I don't think we're going to have all those picks by the end of the day. I think we'll either trade up or we'll trade away some picks in some kind of other move that we're going to probably talk about in today's video. But I'd expect us to have 1 or 2 rookies come out of this draft that we'll be able to see amidst all of this. Personally, I'm looking at guys like Zaire Williams, James Bouknight. Like, there's a lot of names that I'm hoping we see, and hopefully it's a wing that we can get to see play along these guys. So it would be a very exciting Summer League team to see yet again. So I am so excited to be there. Hope to see you guys there. We'll talk more about that when we get closer to the time, but I will be in attendance for Summer League. So be excited, people. We get the best of both worlds. We got the playoffs and we still get to see an exciting Summer League team play this year around. So very excited about that, see that there. But like I mentioned, there are some trades that are buzzing around the New York Knicks right now, and a lot of them have to do with the point guard position. Now, you guys know I'm campaigning for Zoto NY, but there's a lot of veteran point guards that have some ties to other outside noise that is connected to the New York Knicks that make a lot of sense for this team. Will the Knicks make a move for the disgruntled Kemba Walker? Will the Knicks make a move for the Kentucky product of John Wall? Or will we stand pat and go after somebody in free agency like none other than Lonzo Ball, Kyle Lowry, Spencer Dinwiddie? There's a lot of possibilities here, but let's put all of what we learned together and see what makes the most sense, all right? So let's talk about that. Run the intro. What's going on, CK Crew? It's your boy CK2K, and welcome back to another video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Do not forget to like this video. If you haven't already joined the Discord, the conversations continue on the Discord. You find out everything early on the Discord. Go be a part of the Discord. It's a lot of fun. And also go follow me on Twitch. We have some fun. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, streams are lit. We played Mario Kart yesterday. It was dope. Fun times over on Twitch. So it came out a few days ago that the Knicks apparently have some sort of interest in a trade for John Wall. Now, this is not the first time we are hearing this, and it must be true if we're hearing it yet again, because we heard it at the beginning of last season that the Knicks were looking to make some sort of move for John Wall. I think his name was in the mix. We saw Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, all these point guards, these aged veteran point guards were on the list, or on the Knicks list going into the season, and then ultimately he got moved to Houston, and then that whole thing happened, blah, 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 blah. But once again, John Wall, who is going to be 31 years old, and he played okay up until the injury last season, and the Rockets being the Rockets, there's a possibility that the Knicks have some sort of interest in him. Now, I feel like this player and the player we're going to mention next, they garner a lot of from the fan base because of multiple things. We don't know how he's going to be injury-wise. I still feel like there's a good product in John Wall. He has 2 more years left in his current contract that we would probably pick up if we made this trade. He's gonna get 44 mil this coming season and then 47 the following season. So it's a big, hefty contract. Of all the teams, the Knicks are the team that can eat that money up. We could possibly get ourselves a solid starting point guard. I don't know. As you can tell from me talking about this, I'm a little iffy on this one. I'm gonna be very iffy on a lot of these veteran contracts, these veteran moves outside of Chris Paul. To me, it's just a little worrisome, but at the same time, knowing Tom Thibodeau, it can work. I just fear for what happens future-wise with the Knicks. Maybe we sign him for those 2 years, and then by that 3rd year, maybe Luka's the guy. Maybe we draft the point guard, and then those guys take over. So it's just better to give Tom Thibodeau a veteran point guard. Now, there's so many different things to think about, but it just worries me a little bit when we go too veteran crazy, because it reminds me too much of the 2010s. I know it's nothing near the same thing, but I just get worried that we go too veteran heavy, that we just won't be able to come out of it the right way, the same way we did back in 2014. So as I mentioned, last year for the Houston Rockets, John Wall only played 40 games, but in those 40 games, he played up to part of how he normally played. I mean, the season right before his two big injuries, he averaged around 20.7 points per game, which was the second highest to 23.1 points per game back in 2017, 2018, something like that. So he had a solid season, even though it was only under 40 games. And let's be realistic, if the Rockets were probably competing, he probably would have played more than 40 games, but it resulted in him just only playing for those 40 games. But John Wall gave him 20.6 points per game, 6.9 assists, which is a little bit low for John Wall standards, but also 1.1 steals. So John Wall still gave a good, solid production. 40% from the field, 31% from the three-point line, normal John Wall type stuff. And to be honest, watching him play last year, you can see that he still had a little bit of burst even with the injury. It just worries me the type of injuries he had. He's had Achilles injuries, he's had knee injuries, he's had heel injuries for a player like him. His hamstring was flaring up last year. So it's just a lot of injuries that worry me when it comes with this player. And normally I'm all in on making these kind of bets for these kind of guys. But on the other hand, I definitely feel like he could be somebody that can help us the way that we need to be helped. I'm talking about a guy that pushes the pace. I'm talking about a guy that can move the ball. I think he would buy in really well in this system. But God, the injury problem is something that worries me, especially with Tom Thibodeau, who's going to play him a lot of minutes. It's just something to look at. But I gotta say, I don't have a definitive answer on how I feel about John Wall. I feel like a trade that can come for him will not be as expensive as you might think, because John Wall's contract is big. So I feel like we'll be the ones that are in the driver's seat as far as what we're willing to give up to get him on our team, because the Rockets are trying to get rid of that contract so they can completely rebuild. So I feel like we'll be in the driver's seat when it comes to any kind of move that it comes around John Wall. But like I said, there's just the red flags that just keep flowing around my head on what we do when it comes to John Wall. But what's your guys' thought? Do you think we go after John Wall, or do you think we go after this next guy in Kemba Walker, New York's own Kemba Walker? Now there's talks between the Boston Celtics and Kemba Walker that apparently things are over when it comes to Kemba Walker and the Boston Celtics. Sources are saying that the Celtics are looking to break up the team. Now we knew once Danny Ainge stepped down and that Brad Stevens stepped up to take his role, that the Boston Celtics were possibly going to make some major moves, because who else knew the team better than the guy who was coaching the guys? You know, they're already thinking that Marcus Smart might be a part of deals. Now we're seeing Kemba Walker possibly want to break up from them, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that the Celtics were open to making a move for him at the deadline, which I don't know if I can really blame them, because in the playoffs last year and since his injury, it looks like Kemba Walker hasn't been playing up to what he's normally been up to, especially with his years in Charlotte. I don't know if that's because of injuries. A lot of people are thinking it's because his attitude, because he just didn't want to be on the Boston Celtics, which definitely could be a thing, even though he chose to go to the Boston Celtics. I don't know. But both players are at the 30 mark, and I still truly ultimately believe that I want to get us a younger point guard to help us now and for the long term. But these guys are, they're battle tested, the guys that can do what they do, the all-stars. They've done this kind of stuff at an all-time high. But just like John Wall, Kemba Walker's only played 43 games last season, and the season before only 56 games because of pretty big knee injuries. In Kemba Walker's last year with the Boston Celtics, he averaged 19.3 points per game. Shot a better clip than John Wall at 42 from the field, 36 from the three. Good stat line for a guy like Kemba Walker, who's known to be offensive heavy. The problem with Kemba Walker is he drops off tremendously defensively because of his size, and just because he just doesn't have that defensive ability. And I don't know how that fits for the New York Knicks. Obviously, that gives us a guy that can get us points, which is something we need desperately, but I just don't know how it helps us defensively, because that least even Derrick Rose, who is not known to be a crazy a big defender, he was a guy that was doing a great job hustling and getting us some good stops defensively. And Elfrid Payton, though you feel how you want to feel, Elfrid Payton can at least stay in front of a guy from time to time. John Wall, to me, is a player that plays off of energy. So if the team is playing one way, John Wall is going to match the energy and play the same way. He says that this is the attitude of the team, I'm gonna play that. And I feel like Kemba Walker is the same way, but at the same time, because of his physical abilities, I don't even think there's so much that he can do. So I worry a lot about the defensive end, because that's just what our calling card needs to be, and hopefully will continue to be this next season. So I just don't know what Kemba Walker fits in that. But let's talk about his contract, shall we? We talked about John Wall having a little bit over 90 mil left on his contract. Kemba Walker has a similar situation, but not quite as much, which is a contract that we can eat up for the last 2 years of his contract, which is just like John Wall, signed up until 2023. Both guys can be out. Kemba Walker will be getting 36 mil next year and 37 the following year, which is not as much as John Wall, so it helps us a little bit with the books. But at the same time, I think the price makes sense because John Wall can give you a little bit more. I don't know. It's a lot of things to think about, but I'm not gonna say that I'm ultimately against it. I just don't think that this is the first move I make. So yeah, the Knicks have themselves in I wouldn't say a predicament, but the Knicks are putting themselves in position to possibly pick up one of these two guys in a trade if they decide to go that direction. We're also seeing the reports that the Knicks are heavily favorited to make the blockbuster deal to get Damian Lillard. I'm not buying that, but at the same time, I would much rather make a big trade to get him. I think, after making that Damian Lillard video, looking into it more, I think looking at what we have, the amount of draft picks we have, and I think we can make a trade that would not completely, utterly gut our team to get a player like Damian Lillard. But it depends on if the Portland Trailblazers are willing to play ball. That's the biggest key when it comes to this. So I don't think it's out of the cards. I just don't think it's realistic. That's what I'm going to say about Damian Lillard. I don't know. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say. I'm still on the fence about it. I'm sure after a few more days thinking about it, we're going to be talking about these moves again as the offseason goes on. But I just want to report these right now since they're out right now and hear what you guys are thinking about them. So let me know in the comments below. Your boy CK, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, as well as like this video. If you haven't already, make sure you join the Discord, buy your merch, go get your merch. Merch store is up, as well as make sure that you follow me over on Twitch. All right, I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. It's your boy CK. Let's get it. I'm out of here. Oh man, this offseason is gonna be fun, y'all. This offseason is gonna be fun. We have a lot of things that we need to twist up and change up, and I can't wait for Summer League. All right, I'm out of here. See you guys in the next one.
Feeling like I won the lotto. Always taking trips with a new chick, asking where the time goes. And I wonder if this is all I'll know.